weekly sit-down with local agricultural leaders and businesses. This is Tailgate Conversations. Presented by Pinnaker Chevrolet.
So today we're at our state capitol visiting with representatives and senators from across the state. Before we dive into that, give an overview of your role with Missouri Farm Bureau.
Yeah, so I'm a state legislative director for Missouri Farm Bureau, which means I serve as the lobbyist at the state level. So I bring our member-adopted policies from the office to the Capitol. And it becomes a full-time job from January through May, but that keeps us busy all year round, for sure.
Well, let's talk about Missouri Farm Bureau's role when it comes to regulation, when it comes to policy across the state.
Yeah, so Missouri Farm Bureau is kind of uniquely positioned because when you hear Farm Bureau, you're thinking just farm. And we do spend a lot of time talking about farm issues, animal agriculture, row crops, and that kind of thing. But we also spend a lot of time talking about rural development and what's good for rural Missouri. So it's not so solely focused. Our commodity groups do a great job of focusing on their issues, and we're always supportive with those too. But we also spend a lot of time talking about rural issues, whether it be rural schools, rural transportation, rural healthcare. So we get a broad range of issues where we get to get into a lot of interesting discussions.
Well, throughout the entire year, you're continually have that kind of open door policy when it comes to the farmers and ranchers back home in their areas, communicating what's important to you. How does that process kind of work when you're not in session?
Yeah, absolutely. So we get out of session in May, and the policy starts over in June. So it's a quick turnover. We bring members from around the state into our office, and we talk about some of the issues. We have it's a really impressive meeting where we bring in state department heads, commodity heads, and talk about issues that they're seeing. And then that develops our policy questionnaire, which goes out into all of our members' magazines, and they see it at their annual meeting. And then we get together back in October where they review those reports and then take tentative language to our annual meeting in December. So it's a year-round process where we're refining those, where all of our membership gets to have a chance to have an input on our policies.
And then fast forward to when we were in session, right now it's February and we're here at our state capitol in Jefferson City. Southwest Missouri is being represented this week. Take me through what the Capital Connection program is doing across the state.
Yeah, so when I took over as state legislative director, one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that legislators knew it's not just BJ Tanksley that's up here talking, that I'm actually representing the members from around the state. And so it was very important to me. What we do is we break it out by regional coordinator region. So we have 6 regions across the state, and they come each Tuesday throughout the session. They come and they visit with people from their region. It may or may not be their actual representative, but they get to talk about what's important to Farm Bureau and connect legislators from their area to the issues we're working on. And it really is effective because there's a lot of people walking the halls who resemble me and are dressed like me, but to be able to connect it with legislators, with people that are actually boots on the ground farming, getting their hands dirty year in and year out, it really does help advance the causes.
So after a day like today, what do you want the elected officials to walk away with after meeting with their local constituents?
Yeah, it works on a lot of levels. It engages our members so they get excited about what we're working on. But from legislators' perspective, I hope that they met a new friend and they've made a resource. So if we're talking to a representative and they've been introduced to somebody new, hopefully when an issue that comes up, they'll either look to me or look to that person again for issues that may be affecting them. So maybe they see what we're talking about today, but hopefully these relationships last for years to come. So that's what I think. I think it has a long-lasting impact back on our members and for legislators.
Well, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about people that might want to get involved, whether they're potential Farm Bureau members or current Farm Bureau members that want to share their voice. What's the best advice you can give them?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Get plugged in at the local level. Join your local county Farm Bureau board. Come to Young Farmers and Ranchers. Come to annual meeting. Get plugged in with that policy development process. Contact your local office. They'll tell you when their chance to come up is, and we love to plug in new people because it does get exciting when actually people get to get involved in the process themselves.
So Gary, I understand you call Webster County home.
Yes, me and my son, we farm approximately 400 acres. We run anywhere from 80 to 100 head of beef cattle. We do hay and some other stuff, and I'm also a recorder of deeds in Webster County, Missouri. And we own a Century farm. My son will be the 7th generation on the farm, and my grandson will be the 8th. So having youth in the rural area is really important to one of Missouri's best industries, which is agriculture.
Absolutely. It is our #1 economy here in the state of Missouri. Gary, obviously we're here at our state capitol representing Farm Bureau. Take me through what's taken place today and the importance of being here at our capitol.
Well, today we're just making connection with some of the new representatives and new senators from each one of our districts, and just to let them know that we as rural people need their support also in our area besides in the cities, but we're also willing to work with them on metropolitan areas as well as rural areas to get issues that contribute to both areas, such as broadband and transportation and things like that, which is important to city and rural people.
Absolutely. It's important to all of us across the state.
Yes.
So why are you here? Why have you chosen to take your voice to the state capitol and represent your folks back at home?
Well, we have another generation of young people that are coming on, and they need to have the same availability to technology as it goes as we did when I was growing up, better ways to sell and buy what your commodities that you need to use, whatever it is. So we need people in the rural area for rural development. We need to try to keep them there. And that's why I'm here just to remind our senators and representatives how important that the rural area is to the whole state and to keep people there if we can.
So what does it mean to you to, shake your representative, your senator's hand and say, I'm Gary Letterman and, I want you to know me?
Well, I represent everyone that lives in the county where I'm at whenever I shake that representative or senator's hand. And they know if they haven't known me, but the ones that do, know that when we talk about things, this is serious stuff. It's not just, blowing in the wind stuff. These are things that affect older and younger people in our areas where we live. And in order for our counties to remain viable and growth, we need to work together to do things to help promote.
So today you're representing Missouri Farm Bureau, but what's your message to everybody back home in Southwest Missouri to take a stand and to communicate what's important to them at our state level?
Well, each person, no matter what job that you have or where area, whether it's metropolitan, rural, or suburban, you matter. Everyone matters, and everyone needs to have the same availability to technology and the ability to promote your business, whatever you do. As we go in the future, this is going to get highly competitive among areas where food's going to be grown and the way it's transported and all those things. So it's important for everyone, not just us as farmers.